Judo is a very reputable martial art that teaches you very practical abilities and maneuvers for fighting and self-defense. However, it's the worst system out there for building any kind of grappling foundation. Oh, aside from Aikido, of course. Now, Judo has contributed a lot to the innovation of martial arts, such as the belt system, the gi, and the existence of BJJ. But aside from that, Judo comes with its limitations. And I mean severe limitations. Now, the first and most problematic thing about Judo being that Judo has terrible ground control because it gives zero regards as to how you should control or scramble with your opponent once the fight goes to ground. Judo scores points based on the speed, power and positioning of how the throw is executed, yet does not even consider or put much thought into how the fight plays out after the fall or landing takes place. So you could be training in Judo and learn how to position yourself and use your opponent's momentum against them to put them on the ground, but then have no idea how to keep them on the ground. Now this can get you into a lot of trouble in the street because you can initiate a scramble after taking someone down and not know how to control that situation, because judokas have this unrealistic expectation that you can just take someone down and then the fight's over. In reality, however, that's really the case. And if that wasn't already obvious in a street fight, this dynamic is even more obvious in MMA, when someone with a judo background initiates a takedown and then gets submitted by someone with better BJJ or exhausted by someone who can out-wrestle them. Scrambles, ground control and basic takedowns are more fundamental to fighting than throws. Throws are just icing on the cake, which is something that Judo does not acknowledge. Now, Judo does have some degree of ground control and submissions, but the rules of Judo does not allow enough time on the ground to really get good at submissions, so they lack the BJJ ability to flow from one position to another. Therefore, a Judo black belt has an even worse ground game than a BJJ white belt. When you're in a position where you must do something else after the takedown to end the fight, using Judo is a whole lot of risk for very low probability of success. The second bad thing is its takedowns are nothing compared with wrestling. Judo emphasizes takedowns through controlling the orientation of their opponent's upper body in order to execute the hip throw. Judo does not encourage takedowns through any means necessary, such as leg grabs. Wrestling, on the other hand, does. Judo discourages leg grabs as a means to take someone down, simply because it doesn't look flashy or exciting in competition, even though leg grabs are just a more efficient way to take someone down. Freestyle wrestling in particular has most of the same takedowns as Judo, the only difference being is that freestyle allows leg grabs and knows how to control the fight once it goes to ground. And furthermore, freestyle trains these throws no gi, meaning that wrestling has a far better carryover to MMA and the streets. Which brings me to my last issue. Judo relies too much on the gi to execute its takedowns and to hold a submission on the ground. Wrestling trains everything no-gi from the very beginning, and BJJ has no gi training sessions due to its involvement in MMA. Judo, on the other hand, just maintains its old ways and refuses to evolve because BJJ acknowledges that no-gi training is fundamental to reality-based training. And another silly thing is that Judo wears the gi in training and often just assumes that it's the same thing as grabbing someone's clothes in a real fight. Which of course is not true, because the Judo gi is made up of a very thick fabric that makes it easy to grab. It's designed specifically for the sport of Judo. Most other clothing would not have that same effect when grabbed and pulled under that kind of pressure. Most other clothing would rip almost instantly. And my final point is that Judo throws often cause self-inflicted injuries. Slamming your face hard down on the pavement does not automatically hurt less just because you were the one who initiated the takedown. MMA and wrestling teaches takedowns that are more likely to land them in a good position that offers them ground control. At the very best, Judo offers techniques that you can use to supplement whatever else you're training in prior to learning Judo. And that pretty much concludes Judo in a nutshell. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next video.